Welcome to the CommuniCast, everybody. This is a JRPG episode. I've been trying to get together for a while now, but I'm a lazy asshole. So, I'm Fappy. It's been a while. With me, I have Haza.
Hello.
Introduce yourself. And I got AC10.
How you doing?
And I also have Waikumari. Did I pronounce it properly?
You did. Howdy, y'all.
I am amazing. All right, so yeah, this episode is basically just about JRPGs. It's going to be just like that RTS episode we did a while back where we're just talking about general stuff in the genre. So I guess we'll just start off with a basic question. What's everybody's favorite JRPG? We'll start with you, Haza.
Before we do this, I just want to make a shout out to Tizzy, who sadly isn't here because he's a jerk for some reason. He didn't show up. Tizzy.
Oh yeah,
you.
and if he shows up in the middle of this, we're all going to tell him he's an idiot and probably spit on him.
Because we love him, of course.
Yeah, it's for his own good.
So anyway, back on topic, was it? Yes, that sounds good. Favorite JRPG? I'm going to be completely, utterly fucking standard and say Persona 4 because, Christ, that game is good.
I mean, that is a good one. Why is it your favorite, though?
There's a lot of reasons, and I'm going to take up the whole podcast if I try and say all of them, so I'm going to do the whole generic character story, gameplay, presentation, and Yosuke, because, man, Yosuke, I like him. He's cool.
Really? Yosuke's your favorite?
Do you not like Yosuke?
I mean, I like Yosuke, but come on, you got Kanji and Chie, and
They're good,
they're
but...
better characters.
Okay, just try saying Chie, fit in Broington name, or Kanji, fit in Broington name. You can't. But Brosuke, mind blown.
Yeah, but Chie says mistake, so...
That is true. Yeah, Alright, touche.
AC, what's your favorite JRPG?
Might go off the beaten track here, and okay, let's see if this counts. Does Gaia 4, does that count as an RPG? It's a great question.
That's a good game. I'd say it counts.
I've never played it, so I can't really say.
It's a
They're
very
more of
JRPG.
strategy.
It's like it's got the whole stat building and equipment gathering and kind of dungeon crawling, so I'd say it counts, even though the format is a bit different.
The format's totally different.
Is it a tactical RPG? Like,
yes.
it doesn't have tactical RPG stuff? Okay, well, I mean, like, I would say most Japanese tactical RPGs have a lot of JRPG elements in them, so you could probably count them. Like, I'd count Fire Emblem games as JRPGs.
Yeah, okay. Alright. I'll go with that one.
Why is it your favorite?
I think because it's got a lot of grinding in it. And I know that most people hate grinding, but I love grinding. I don't know why. I
The
find it
grinding in the
almost
game is very fun.
therapeutic. Yeah, the grinding is fun, and it becomes almost about the process of... In late game, it becomes about leveling faster, if you know what I mean. The goal of the game becomes getting so you can level faster. You can just reset your character and then level up.
Oh, that makes sense.
I got to a point where, like, I spent 2 hours perfecting, I think it was the Mount Ordeal's the final level in that, so I could just send in, like, 4 characters, finish it with them, get them, like, 100 levels per thing. It was good times. Good times.
Yeah, I know, it's ridiculous. Yeah.
Grinding is definitely a big part of JRPGs for why people like or hate it, so we'll definitely, like, probably focus on that at some point in the cast. And also, I'm going to phrase all the rest of my questions to AC so that he has to say about as much as possible.
Okay.
Anyways, alright,
Just say Jesse.
Why
Just say Jesse.
Jesse? Hey, Jesse. So what's your favorite?
Well, I happen to like the Tales series. I know a lot of people don't.
I like it. I
Thank
like
you.
Tales series.
Thank you guys.
So Faffy
I'm
still
the
one
odd
out
man
here.
here. Well, I mean,
Everyone
I
take
don't,
on Faffy.
it's not that I hate it. I've never played it per se. I've seen it played a lot, and I've made fun of it a lot, but I don't
Get on that
necessarily hate
shit.
the series.
But before I answer that, I'll have to ask everyone here, did anyone else, before the start of this cast, go onto Wikipedia just to see the list of JRPGs, just so they can remind themselves?
Nope.
No, but I made a list of ones that I've
No,
played
because
and enjoyed.
there's so many of them.
Yeah, I made a small list of...
That list is probably retardedly large.
Yeah, I would say
It's not wrong because I have bad memory.
my favorite is between either Tales of Fantasia or Tales of Symphonia. Though I got Tales of Vesperia for the Xbox, and I've liked that one quite a bit as well.
Well, I'm going to be retro as shit and probably say that my favorite it's actually probably my favorite game of all time next to Morrowind and Mass Effect 1 is actually Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars.
Such a good game. Yep.
Fucking amazing game.
I've
I
played
can
like
talk
half an
all
hour
day
of it.
about that game. What?
It's
yeah,
good.
I wasn't getting into it.
It was my first RPG as a kid before Pokemon came out. I think I got it when I was like 6 or something like that. It was just like going back and playing it now. I've played through it so many times, and it's got really good replay value, I think, for an old JRPG. And the thing that really sticks out about the game is it just has this, and Nintendo hasn't quite lost it yet, but I don't think it has the same degree of this just really quirky, weird humor in the game. Like, I
Yeah,
know,
I'm-
like, Paper Mario and some other so some other Nintendo games still have that, but not quite to the same degree. What were you going to say, AC?
I was gonna say, yeah, the Paper Mario series kind of has kept some of that humor, but yeah, it's died down over the years as the series has gone on.
Yeah, it just had this kind of like, it definitely had this very specific kind of old school Square kind of taste to it as well, because, you know, Square worked on the game that you definitely aren't going to get with any other Nintendo RPG in the future, probably ever again.
Well, we've seen what happens when like Nintendo tries to put a story focus in a modern game, and that's other M. So let's keep it to the Paper Marios and stuff, shall we?
Aww.
I'm sorry I had to bring that up.
You bring back, you open up old wounds, and but yeah, the thing, one of the things I really loved about Mario RPG was the like a lot of the characters that are specific to that game and never appeared again were actually fucking awesome or just hilarious, like fucking Booster. Do you remember Booster, AC?
Booster, no, what one was that?
He was like the crazy bearded crackhead guy who kidnapped Peach.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Well, the best part about him was his like motivation for kidnapping the princess and marrying her was because he wanted a wedding. He didn't even care about her. He was like, I've never had a wedding before.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can talk about that fucking game all day long. So let's get into something else before I do.
Well, I guess I'll.
But yeah, I guess we. What was that?
I'll just say I guess I'll justify my position on Tails. By going back to what you just mentioned with Mario RPG, the Tales series for me has, even though they try to deal with serious themes, it's still in a world that's quirky and odd and has a bit of humor. So that when they do humor and stuff like that, it doesn't seem out of place. Whereas I get to some of these other games like Final Fantasy, some of them, where they try it and it just falls flat. It doesn't really work for me. They try to be a little too serious. And that's why I like Tales.
Yeah, I see
It's a
what you
game I
mean.
can just turn on, play, have a little bit of a laugh, and then turn off a little later.
Yeah, I've watched it. My girlfriend and sister play it a bunch, and I just remember, I don't remember which Tales game it was. Haza, you identified it earlier before the cast, but
Graces.
yeah, Grace's. There's this part where like they're inside a giant monster or something like that, and the way they phrase what they're talking about, like I couldn't stop laughing. They're like, "We need to go out through the butt," like they very
Yeah,
specifically
I remember that
focused
part.
on the word "butt."
There's
was
one bit that's
very
even better
weird.
later on is you find a tree full of peaches, and they're like, oh, peaches, and the like amnesia sort of little girl, who I'm not going to spoil her storyline, she goes, hey, it's a butt tree, it looks like Sherry's. And the character Sherry is just like, Sophie, stop this now. It's like, oh god, this is horrifying.
Yeah, one of my favorite like jokes that popped up a bunch of times. It's like a consistent joke in Mario RPG was that Bowser was just actually a big pussy. Like he cries more than any other character in the game. Or he'll just like go off in some tangent and like start, because he, you know, if you remember AC, he was the reason why he was in the party. He justified to himself was that Mario begged him to join his like his group or whatever. But in reality, he was actually the one who needed Mario's help. He just wouldn't admit it. So he would like go off on these like huge tangents about how Mario's a big pussy and cry to him, and you know how he's gonna go back and like take his castle back and blah blah blah. And every time he did this, all the other characters just ignored him.
Right, yeah.
And like he'd just go crying
I'm
a corner
fuzzy on
by
the
himself.
details, I won't lie.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it's been a while. I mean, the game did come out.
Yeah, I played
in
it.
Fucking 95, 96, something like that.
That's what I
Oh
played
god,
it,
I was
so.
like 1 or 2 years old, Jesus.
Yeah, it was. I think I got it for my 6th birthday, something like that. But yeah. So anyway, moving on. I guess since we mentioned it already, we can talk about grinding. I'm kind of on the fence about grinding. See, the thing for me is like, if the grinding doesn't feel like grinding, I like it. If it feels like grinding, I fucking despise it.
Fair enough.
I
yeah.
think there's one thing that like I've got on my little note here because I'm a huge, massive nerd. Is Valkyria Chronicles 2. That did a really bad job at it because late game you'd get enemies that would destroy you unless you did grinding, but the actual gameplay was like mind intensive, so you need to focus, and having to focus to do the same thing over and over and over again, that shit ain't fun. But Disgaea, because it's really simple and not very punishing, you can just like switch your brain off and just get all the numbers coming up, and that's good grinding because it's just rewarding and having fun while not thinking too much. But Valkyria Chronicles 2 is like, hey, use all your brain power and destroy yourself.
Yeah, I would say that Persona usually is a pretty good example for grinding because the way they set up the progression for actual personas themselves is there are a lot of short-term rewards for grinding. So you're always like instant gratification, like, oh man, I really need to grind, whoever to get like, Agidine or some shit. And like once you get it, you're like, all right, now I'm gonna fuse him and do this and blah blah blah. Like the grinding aspect to it is kind of hidden within this bigger kind of meta progression, if that makes sense.
You're really grinding social links more, like, because I remember Persona 3,
Yeah,
because I didn't have many social links at the beginning, I'd never really played a JRPG like this before, I was just grinding up the chariot, I think it was, and I got Thor in the end. As soon as I could make Thor, the game was over, because I got that social link so high up so quickly, he just wrecked everything, and it was glorious.
Yeah, I did. I actually, what was her fucking name? Jesus, I can't remember. Chick with the glasses in Persona 3 who has social anxiety.
In the library?
Chihiro? Is that her name?
Mit something. I need to
well,
Google
it's
this.
not Mitsuru, obviously. But anyway, I maxed her out first, and she's Justice. So I made what's his name? Melchizedek, I think that's his name. I got him like really fucking early, and I I put all of my points for like maxing out strength on him. So the last like 50 levels of Tartarus, I just have him spam a physical AoE attack and just wipe the board clean like every fight. It became like a joke.
Chihiro, by the way.
Yeah, Chihiro. I was
Thank
right,
you,
I remember.
Wikipedia.
But actually, yeah, the grinding social links is kind of like it can feel like grinding when you get to the later parts of it because a lot of it is you need to know exactly what to say in a prior conversation in order to not waste your time one day just jerking around with them. And the last time I played Persona 4, I almost didn't 100% it because that's like my goal for playing it again was to 100% it. I literally maxed out my final social link on the last possible day I could have done it.
Ooh, risky.
It was a close fucking call, man. I just barely skidded by.
I have to say that with grinding, I feel like there's so many variables that go into what day you feel like you really want to grind. It's like, if it's a tiring day, I may or may not want to grind. If I have a story I'm really interested, I may or may not want to grind. I mean, there's so many things that could put me off from it, and then so many reasons if it's a good game that could turn me on to it.
Yeah, if the game has a really good story and you're playing it for the first time, grinding is very detrimental, I think, because it can really fuck up pacing. It's not as big a deal if you're playing through a game a second time, because and then the Persona games, going back to that, like, you don't really need to grind that much, like, combat-wise. You go through the dungeon one time, and then you go through it a second time to get some, like, extra boss and some stuff. It doesn't really feel like grinding, but that's essentially what the second trip to the dungeon is, essentially. But doing that the first playthrough, I didn't really have a problem. And in the second playthrough, when I wanted 100% everything, like, complete the compendium and everything, I had to grind a lot. Like, I spent at least 6 hours in, whatever Inaba, just like grinding the Grim Reaper over and over and over again. And that took fucking forever. If I had done that the first time through, that would have just totally fucked up the climax of the game for me, because I would have been spending hours without any story content at all.
Right, yeah. That's one reason I hate speed bump style bosses in JRPGs. Because, like you mentioned before, when you hit one, you're like, guess I gotta go grind. And the point of your grinding at that juncture is to just gain levels. In other games, you know, you
Yeah.
at least have a sense of progression while you're grinding, so it doesn't feel as bad. But then it's doubly worse because you have the story you're being delayed from. You're like, hey, let's just get on with this.
Yeah.
Can I just like take a guess about the speed bump thing? Is that like you're doing well, then you just reach a point where you can't get past? Because I've never heard that before.
Yeah, that's what I call them. Like you're going
Oh,
along
right.
fine, then you hit a boss and it just wipes your shit.
Final
And,
Fantasy 12 Elder Wyvern, or whatever the fuck that thing was called.
I feel
I
like
haven't played 12, so
Tales of Fantasia
Don't.
kind of did that, where you got to these mid-level bosses and they were pretty tough. The problem is they didn't follow up with a tough end boss, so that by the time I had finished all my grinding, I beat him first try, no issue at all.
Tales games are bad with that, yeah. Grace has had that a lot as well, actually.
yeah.
I feel like some of the older, like, 16-bit RPGs didn't really have as many issues with the grinding. But last time I went back and played Chrono Trigger, I remember actually getting stuck on two bosses where I had to go back and grind a little bit, but it wasn't that bad. I think I got stuck on, I don't know how many of you guys have played it. Hopefully all of you, because if you haven't, you're
I
a
have.
sinner.
I have.
How's it
Oh
say?
god, I'm not out. Sorry.
You know, I went back and played Chrono Trigger because I was old enough to play it when it came out, but I went back and played it for the first time when I was in high school, and I loved it. So it definitely has aged very well. But it was the boss. It's like this giant dinosaur that you need to beat within a certain amount of time, or he one-shots the whole party. And I just did not have the damage to beat him on time. Like, I don't know why. I guess I fucking skipped shit or something because I knew the game really well. I was like, I don't need to do this, whatever.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, it didn't work out.
Well, I think like a lot of modern games, they're trying to like be sensible and have balance. So it needs a bit more grinding at times, because like Final Fantasy 6, I haven't played much of it, but from what I can tell, it was ridiculously easy to break. And now developers are like, oh, we don't want to have players like completely ruin our game with an overpowered character. Let's not let them. And then that
7.
means they're all the same thing.
Dude, yeah, 7 was so easy to break. If you grinded at all, like, you could kill Sephiroth in, like, 2 seconds. It was
Even just the material with like Cloud with them quad slash or whatever it's called, then it's just like, hey,
Yeah,
4 attacks
you
I do
give 'em, like-
9999.
You give them, like, counter whatever and quad slash or whatever. Like, you basically, like, Sephiroth attacks you once and you attack him, like, 20 times. And you're like, oh, well, he's gonna die from that. The only challenging thing in that game, if you grinded at all, was nothing, actually. Because, I mean, there are two really easy strategies for Ruby and Green that totally invalidate them as bosses that are, as far as I know, the only ways to beat them anyway.
Just use a Phoenix down, man.
Yeah, in the... Wait, Phoenix Down... They're not undead, though.
I know. It's, I'm making sarcastic jokes. Someone like
Yeah.
me, please.
One game I felt had decent grinding was Star Ocean Last Hope. The bosses were tough enough that you needed to grind a bit, but you didn't have to spend so much time. I kind of feel like that game had a good balance between the heavy grinding versus having at least tough bosses that you can deal with.
Is that the one where the main character is called Fate?
It's been a couple years. I can't remember off the top of my head. You're this guy
forget.
on a spaceship, this kid, essentially, as most of these games are, and you're in charge of a ship that crashes with a crew, and...
I think that's a different one I'm thinking of, because I remember one with some guy called Fate, and it's like, I saw some videos because I think about getting it, and all the voice acting was just awful, so I was like, never touching
Yeah,
this, ever.
I got Last Hope. I'd never played any of the games in that series, and I just picked it up real cheap, and the acting was brutal.
Yeah, that seems to happen a lot. They've
Yeah,
gotten
that
better
could be another
about
good segue
localizing
later on.
English, but
No, the main
Actually, we can,
character's name is Edge Maverick.
Yes, that's what it was.
Fuck me!
Yeah. I
Alright,
was
that's
drinking while
amazing.
playing that, and just...
really short segue. That reminds me, I was suggested this anime to watch that I couldn't take seriously at all because of the main character's name. Like, the anime was called Gungrave, and the main character's name is Beyond the Grave. His name is Beyond the Grave.
I've seen the like Japanese version of Gungrave. Like I don't know what the English names are.
Yeah, Beyond the Grave is his name. That makes no sense.
That's a pretty bad name.
Like, is Beyond his first and the his middle name? How does that work?
I don't know, man. I don't know. B is his middle name. I don't know. But yeah, for oh shit, I had some segue for grinding, but now I just lost it. Oh yeah, that's right. So for no, I lost it again.
Professional
Sorry, brain
podcasts
fart.
here at the Escapist.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It had to do with Persona 3. Oh, that's right. Now I remember. Okay. So, a lot of games you can grind indefinitely and just like a lot of Final Fantasy games you can just grind indefinitely, and that's why it's so easy to break. But a lot of games you need to have some form of mastery of the system to grind efficiently, because there is something that is limiting your ability to grind. So like in the Persona series, in 3, your characters can get exhausted if they're in Tartarus for too long, and they become pretty shit when they're tired.
Right.
And
Yeah.
Well,
in 4, your spirit SP is a valuable resource that you can run out of, and you can kind of counteract that by going back to the fox, but that is a lot of money. So it's either you waste days or you waste money, or you're just good at the game, I guess. And I haven't actually played any of the earlier Fire Emblem games. I've only played Awakening, but from what I've been told in the older Fire Emblem games, it was damn near impossible to grind in those games. Like, there were very few opportunities to do it, so...
I played Radiance of Dawn and it seemed like a very linear thing. Like, you just do mission to mission to mission and there was no opportunity to grind. You had to be good at the game or you were fucked, basically.
Yeah. See, in Awakening, you can actually grind. Pretty much indefinitely. I mean, there are some limitations, but...
One of the things about Persona 3 that I was talking about the exhausting thing, correct me if I'm wrong, because I've been a while since I played this, but if I remember right, like, the last few days before a boss, your characters just wouldn't get exhausted. So it built this really sort of interesting thing where if you weren't playing well or doing combat enough, you'd have these just last opportunities to, like, use all your resources to get strong enough to be able to beat the next boss, but if you didn't, then it's like, you're gonna have to spend the one day, just one entire day, just grinding the hell out of it.
It might be that, like, it took more to get tired, but I don't think you were, like, straight up immune to it, because that sounds like it would be too easy to exploit.
I just remember going up to, like, the last boss, I got killed by it, it was the last day, but I decided to do a little bit of grinding, and characters just weren't getting tired, so it might have just been for the last boss, it might have been for, like, story bosses, I'm not sure, but I do remember that happening sometime. I don't know.
Yeah, actually, I think you might not be able to get tired on the last day or something like that. But I could be wrong. I mean, I never actually really had any issues. Like, I usually grinded a bunch, like, at the beginning of a month or something like that, and then I was fine the rest of the time. Like, I'd go back a couple times, but I pushed the characters to their fucking limits. Like,
Did that
I would say
before.
50% of the time I was in Tartarus, they were all tired. Fighting bosses with tired characters was a pain in the ass.
Well, as soon as you went back to the Tartarus hub, they just went back to the dorm, didn't they? So...
Yeah, so you had to basically you had to keep them on the floor. You're like, no, you're not going home. You're not going to sleep. You're gonna keep grinding, bitch.
What I did in Persona 4 when I tried to do a second playthrough that I never actually finished because I'm a total scumbag. I was playing on hard because I'm super uber, and like the first day I got the chance to go into the dungeons, do stuff. That would be the day I finished the dungeon. I just wouldn't leave there until I got out of there, even if I meant going back to the first floor.
Yeah.
And just grinding up to beat the next floor enemy. I wanted to get my social links sorted. So yeah, that was fun.
Yeah. That's what you pretty much have to do, unless you're really fucking good at social links.
If it's anything like real life friendships, then no, I'm not. Oh god, I'm so low.
Well, I don't think most people go to hospitals to hang out with old ladies and
Wait, really?
go and tutor random. I mean, like, I just love how the
After they get the drugs, they do.
Oh yeah, that's true. It fucking Persona 4, like the main character. I love the main character, but a lot of people hate him. They say he's too much of a Mary Sue. But if you like analyze his life, it's like fucking weird as shit. He spends like every day hanging out with some other weird asshole. And in 3, the main character obviously doesn't like anybody he spends his time with.
You could say that exactly about like the 4 one as well, because when Ko asks you to polish the balls or whatever, the option is just be an arse and leave. It's like, you can't say that Persona 3 character is less friendly than you, because you can be just as unfriendly.
My balls are on fire. But yeah,
I just love balls.
yeah, but I mean, You is nicer though. There are a lot of characters he's nicer. There's some characters he can be a total asshole to, like but she kind of deserves it sometimes, so I don't really feel bad.
Oh, look, our secondary character so original, do not steal.
But are there any other games you guys can think of that kind of limit grinding or make it kind of, I guess, difficult?
I guess Reset Tier on the PC. If you played
Oh,
that.
Reciteer, yes, that game's
Reset
good.
Tier, sure.
What did that do?
It had like
Tell
a
me.
daily time limit, kind of.
Basically, you had to pay rent, otherwise a fairy took your house. So you had to make enough money to
What?
like pay your rent at the end, but you had to do dungeon crawling to get materials to sell to make money, but you had to sell stuff, so you had to either go to a dungeon or stay in your store and sell things. It is very tense, actually, surprisingly.
Yeah, it actually really was, yeah. And they keep upping the ante on how much you have to pay for your damn loan.
It's like 200,000 at the end, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy how high it gets.
So, would you guys say that you'd prefer a grinding system in a game that limits you, or because I mean, it's really an artificial way for the developers to prevent you from getting super duper retardo overpowered.
Exactly,
sense.
yeah. I don't know. In one way, I kind of like just breaking games. Not that it's a JRPG, but Morrowind, for instance, you could just
Oh,
game
yeah.
that system so hard. And that
You
was
could-
half the fun to me, is just making a completely broken character.
Well, I think that's
So-
what Morrowind was about more than anything else.
Just go to the Silk Shrine in Balmora and just jump off, get acrobatics like level 100, 10 minutes. That's
Oh,
amazing.
yeah.
But I think it also helps to determine if it's a shorter game. Like the Tell series are pretty short games, so grinding isn't such a big deal
What?
for that. If you were playing like Star Ocean Last Hope that had like 3 discs, then you might want to maybe scale back the grinding a bit.
I'm sorry, but Tales series are short games? Those things are like 50 hours long.
I haven't played all of them. I played maybe about 5 of them, and I think the ones I've played are pretty short.
I've played Symphonia, Graces, I'm working on the one on the PSP, but it's kind of really bad. So I haven't played that much, but
Yes,
they all seem pretty long to me.
Me too. I guess I don't have that much time, but they they seem to take me a really long time to get through. But
Yeah, Persona 4 and 3 both took me over 100 hours each. It was, for the first time, it was really rough. I wasn't used to
Around
playing games
60,
that
70,
long.
I think.
Yeah, on my second playthrough, it was still around 90 or so hours because I grinded so much to get 100% on everything.
Mhm.
Unlike my friend
But,
who
uh,
picked up Final Fantasy 13 and got through that thing as fast as he could without grinding.
Well, that's
20
just one
hours
long
in, it gets
corridor,
really good,
isn't it?
guys.
that it's the only game I've literally fallen asleep playing. I'm not even.
Glowing endorsement.
I watched my friend play it, my roommate play it, and I watched the anger build in him.
It's
That's got to be fun.
But 13.2 actually has really good music, so that's a thing.
well, yeah, that's good. It's a good part.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I guess it's just depending on the game. Like, I like the way Persona does their limiting grinding, but I also like some games that you can just totally break in half. Like Fire Emblem Awakening, if you really want to, you can make the game easy as fuck. Like, my second playthrough, I did a hard mode playthrough, and the beginning on hard is actually pretty damn hard. But if you, like, I went way overboard. Like, I grinded way too much, and I, like, plotted out all of, like, the heredity stuff. So, like, I knew that the son or daughter of these two characters would have these abilities and build him into this class and blah. Basically, I was, like, making a master race of super children, and, like, the last half of the game was a fucking cakewalk. It wasn't even fair at all.
That
I'm
sounds
not doing
kind
that
of
the
amazing.
third time. Yeah, the third playthrough, I'm still grinding a decent amount, but I'm not like really planning ahead for the children or anything like that because I don't want to make broken ass characters again.
Fire Emblem eugenics. I get it.
Exactly. But yeah, I think it depends on the game, honestly.
Yeah, it totally.
It all
does.
depends on the story tone, really. Oh,
Yeah, that
sorry,
too.
go ahead.
No, I guess I was gonna say, like, in the case of Fire Emblem, you know, to me the main draw of those games, and I haven't even played a Fire Emblem game, so you can crucify me if you want, but it's that doing the strategy and facing the challenge that, I don't know, thinking and stuff. Terrible way to put it, but you know what I mean.
Thinking is hard.
Yeah, well, the point of the game, the fun of the game, is the challenging strategical choices and tactical choices you have to make. And if you can negate that by simply grinding, then the game kind of becomes, I imagine, kind of boring.
I think
Yeah.
like grinding kind of depends on I guess, tone of the story and the openness of the game in a way, because like
Yeah.
Persona
yeah.
4 is linear, but it's open, so you're free to do the dungeons and story mode and whatever you want, but it's still
Yeah.
directed. Well, like Final Fantasy is
Yeah.
like 7. It's open and not all that linear, because you can just go where the bloody hell you want, but then you got to follow path eventually, so you are free to grind, but Persona doesn't let that, because it's got the calendar system and stuff.
And
Yep.
Final Fantasy VII is an example of one of those games that, for whatever reason, it expects you to, without saying explicitly in any way, shape, or form, it expects you to grind like all your party members equally. And if you've never played the game before, like this is the first exposure to the story that you've gotten, you might end up in a situation where, oh shit, Barrett has to solo this guy. I haven't used Barrett since the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
Why would you not use Barrett? He's the best character.
Well, that was my first playthrough. I was a racist little kid, alright?
It's Mr. T. If
It
your
is
party
Mr.
member
T.
is an option between Mr. T or not Mr. T, if you're choosing not Mr. T, you're doing it fucking wrong.
Yeah. I think
Just
I
saying.
think in parties where, well, I always had Sid, Red 13, and Tifa. Like I always switched between those three. Sid was my favorite character in that game.
Actually, about that game, spoiler warning for anyone who hasn't seen it for some reason. It's actually an Escapist user posted a thing about this. Can't remember who it was. Sorry. They're saying a thing like how their party at the beginning was Cloud, Tifa, and Aeris, and like disc 1, oh, Aeris is dead, and then oh, Cloud's in a coma, and oh, Tifa leaves to take care of him. Now my party's full of completely gimped retards who can't do anything, and I can't progress. Shout out to that
Yeah.
user who I can't remember.
Yeah, the
You
party
know-
split phenomenon is, yeah.
Yeah, and the thing about that kind of thing is, I don't know, they gotta help you out a little bit. Like they do some things in Final Fantasy VII where like your party will get split up, and that happens really early on when you're attacking the Shinra building at the beginning of the game, and like it asks you like, do you want to move all your items over to like this one group of characters or this other group of characters? But I think Chrono Trigger did a really good job, and I'm not gonna spoil why, Haza, for you, but the Chrono like disappears for a large chunk of the game. I won't tell you why.
I think I know
And-
why. I think I know why.
But basically, when you get him back, and you actually don't even need to get him back, there are a lot of endings to the game. You don't need to use him in the party anymore. So after the point where he leaves the party for a while, you never need to have him in the party ever again. So what I would do a lot is actually I'd have Frog lead the party like almost all the time every time I played Chrono Trigger again. I think my last party was Frog, Robo, and what's the cave chick's name? I can't remember her name.
Oh,
Isla?
Aya?
Isla? Something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Hold on,
like,
so wait, Chrono Trigger is JRPG with a frog. Does he use a sword?
yeah.
Because did
He's a
Breath of
knight.
Fire 2 have a frog that used a sword as well? Because I seem to remember that quite a lot.
I never played it, so I don't know.
I played some game on my Game Boy Advance years ago where you got a frog that like was looking after a giant frog in a lake, and he was using a sword, and you could give him Excalibur at one point.
I mean, basically, Frog in Chrono Trigger has Excalibur too, but they just call it
Masamune. It's like the Japanese equivalent
Japanese
of
version of Excalibur.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Sephiroth has it too, but it's a giant like Daikatana thing for some reason.
Yeah, that's rather large.
Which I need to talk about Sephiroth for a second because this Sephiroth phenomenon just pisses me off. I will never understand why people like him so much because if you really think about it, he's in the game for like 5 minutes. You see like his clone and shit for most of the game.
He's also
Yeah.
weird as fuck.
He's like naked in a crystal for like 99% of the game. Like just jerking off, doing nothing.
It's because he has
If
an
you're stuck in
awesome
a crystal, I
song.
don't think you can jerk off.
He does have an awesome song.
And that's what everyone likes. They just don't know it.
But all the fangirls are like, he's so hot and he blah 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 blah. I'm like, he doesn't do anything. He's like barely in the story at all.
Yeah, but if they're saying he's so hot, and you're talking about then complaining
Okay.
it's just a clone of him, then the clone of the
Okay,
person
well-
is still, you know, I'm not defending them. I'm
Well,
just seeing their viewpoint.
Sephiroth's the Final Fantasy version of Boba Fett. I guess we'll just have to say that.
That's
You
a
guys
very
eaten
good
by a
analogy.
Sarlacc pit?
Yeah, I mean, he's in kind of a Sarlacc pit for most of the game, right?
Well,
Who's Java?
he's there, but such a short period that a whole mythology just builds up around him, and a following as well.
Yeah. Yeah, he's just it's like post Return of the Jedi if Boba Fett never clawed his way out in like extended universe bullshit.
To be
That's what would
fair,
happen.
like Boba Fett, he's just being all quiet and angsty in movies or whatever. But Sephiroth, you do get to see the flashback bits where he's with Cloud but not, and you get to see how powerful he really is because like he's killing enemies that are near the end of the game in like one swing, and that's actual Sephiroth. So you kind of get an aspect of why
That's
people
true.
enjoy him.
And I don't know, like that just reminds me that I mean I like Final Fantasy VII a lot, but the plot of Final Fantasy VII drives me crazy because it is so stupid. Like the whole part about Cloud basically taking his best friend's identity and then wanting to bang his best friend's old girlfriend, who was like, "You remind me of my old boyfriend who's dead. I want to bang you too." It's like it's
Isn't that
fucking
how
weird.
life works?
Just fucking bizarre. And they overly complicated the whole plot by having like this red herring clone thing going on that just confused people more.
I feel like a lot of Final Fantasy plots under heavy critique have a lot of problems in them.
They just fall
Yeah.
apart.
Yeah.
Like, I read, if you guys have ever read this, it's a fucking brilliant read. Read the theory of Squall dying in the first disc.
Yes, I read that. It's clever.
That
It's
sounds
fucking
familiar.
awesome.
Hey guys, we're in an orphanage where we don't remember each other even though we grew up for like 10 years. Way. Oh, that game.
Yeah, I've never actually finished that game. I think I got to like halfway through the second disc or something like that.
I got to the last boss, then I was like, need to grind, and even like 8-year-old me was like, fuck that shit, yo. So,
I just remember the game having horrible ass balance issues. Like I was watching my mom's boyfriend at the time, so that was like fucking I don't know 15 years ago or something. When the game came out actually. He was like fighting Odin, I think. And I remember Odin was supposed to be a really hard boss. And the fight starts and Odin like fucking does some shit and takes everybody down to like almost dead. And then the cowboy character kills him on one limit break. And I was like, what the fuck just happened?
what really got me about FFA is the summons, because like you could give characters skills, and I would always give each character a skill where like you could mash square during summon sequences to increase the power, and that was like the only way I could do it because I was like young and stupid. So it's like spending 2 minutes every fight to summon, just bashing square, then just come with a big X. It's like, don't tap square anymore. It's like, but I want to tap square. Let me tap square. And that was not a good game
It's
design.
it was like in Pokemon where you throw Pokeball and the you know urban myth that if you slammed the B button like a million times it like somehow helped you catch the Pokemon.
It does.
Yeah, totally.
I thought it depended on the gen of Pokemon. Like they took it out, then like put it back in, or I don't know.
I
I
thought it
don't
was
think anyone knows.
disproven on all of them. But I used to like smash B and also like hold down on the directional on the D-pad for some reason.
I'd also raise
There's
my
actually
blood pressure.
an equation. Sorry. There's an equation somewhere online to find out the calculations of how you catch a Pokemon, and it
Yeah.
is really complicated. It's like
Actually,
A
oh,
in
really?
brackets with equation over B equals this times this equals you caught a Pokemon.
Yeah, it's messed up. If you've ever read the origin of the Missing No bug, it's really interesting. Like they actually have detailed how the bug works and why. It's really fucked up. And usually, I don't think people really ever go that in depth of figuring out why a bug happens, but that was such a prominent bug. Like as far as I can remember as a kid, like that was the one game bug that everybody knew about
Yeah,
and talked about.
yeah. I remember the first time I caught a missing no. That was interesting.
And-
You couldn't
and then
say
your
it,
Hall
or it
of
would
Fame
fuck your whole
exploded.
save up. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and,
I didn't
Your
know
Hall of
about it
Fame
because
become
no one
Jaybrush.
played it.
yeah, and
Like me and my brother played
si-
Pokemon in my school, and that was it.
Since we're on the
Ah.
topic of Pokemon, to whoever out there wrote that whole backstory about why there's no men in the world of Pokemon, you have made it so now I can't enjoy a game without being thoroughly depressed. Thank you very much.
Oh, that the thing about the war and all that.
Yes.
Oh, have you
Yeah,
ever
no
read the
men?
thing about? Have you heard about the thing where Gary is actually the protagonist?
Yeah, 'cause
Yes.
you kill the doctor. That's cruel. But wait, they're saying there's no men in Pokemon?
Well, the whole idea is that as you play, you don't see men, like you don't have a father in most of the games. There's the sergeant who talked about a war, and this guy wrote this backstory about how there was this cataclysmic war that killed a whole bunch of people, and that's why there's so few, like, I think there are male NPC characters, it's just not that many, and it explains why your father's gone, and why the sergeant, had his life saved by a Pokemon, and
So
I
basically,
think they're looking for something
what
that
he's-
isn't there.
What
Oh,
he's
for
saying
sure.
is the backstory of the N64 game Battle Tanks applies, but it's men instead of women. I don't know if anybody here has played.
I-
it.
You're
have
the
not
only
played
person
Battle
who's
Tanks.
ever heard of Battle Tanks.
All right,
Yeah.
come on. It was a Twisted Metal clone. Give me a break. It was
Oh.
Twisted Metal with tanks and without Rob Zombie, so it's automatically inferior.
Going back before I lose this thought, we were talking about summons and Odin and all that in Final Fantasy. Growing up, when I was playing games like Secrets of Mana and Chrono Trigger and Tales of Fantasia, it never occurred to me these being JRPGs or Japanese in any way,
Yeah.
because they focused on European concepts so much. That wasn't until I got into like the later Tales games and Star Ocean that I started to actually notice that this even existed, because those old games never made you really think about Japan in any way.
Yeah, if you think about it, a lot of the older like 16-bit generation JRPGs were usually Western fantasy influenced, or some kind of like Phantasy Star was sci-fi and stuff like that, and there weren't many anime trope type stuff going on. Like there
Yeah.
wasn't any anime influence in a lot of them. Chrono Trigger had like the Dragon Ball Z artist and stuff, but and Western games of the time or RPGs were what's a good way of describing them? They weren't very visually appealing, or they really
Conan-esque.
didn't have much of a visual presence to begin with anyway. Like a lot of the games of the time that like Chrono Trigger came out would be games like Arena and like Baldur's Gate 1 and stuff. And those like they didn't like they were RPGs, obviously. Yes, I would say they're definitely RPGs, but when you think about way back then, I was probably like 9 or 10 years old at the time that Baldur's Gate 1 came out. It didn't feel like the genres were just different back then, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like they were way more broad than what they are today. You had platformers, fighting games, racing games, and RPGs, pretty much.
Right, yeah, okay. Yeah.
And I don't know if this is relevant to the whole trope discussion thing, but even back in the day, you can kind of separate the JRPGs from the Western RPGs, because like JRPGs did have varied like NPC casts, but the allies would always have this thing where like they can be robots or frogs or whatever, but they all tend to be like maybe 25-ish years oldest to teenager. Like the oldest person I think of in old JRPGs is Barrett, and he was like 30. So there's lots of like younger people with little parental influence, where Western RPGs, like you got Gorion, you got Czar who's older, you got Icewind Dale people, there's all people in that, make your own character.
Yeah.
So I think that's how you can kind of see the influences.
Yeah, a lot of the early Western RPG stuff was almost all of it that I can think of were all, if not directly originating from Dungeons and Dragons, they were heavily influenced by them. And obviously a
Absolutely.
D&D setting is going to have a ton of different age ranges and all sorts of stuff. I mean, like you said, Icewind Dale, there's Icewind Dale, Baldur's Gate, and all those games were all, I think, if not Forgotten Realms setting, they were in a setting that had been used in Dungeons and Dragons before.
They've Forgotten Realms, yeah. Neverwinter Nights as well.
Even ones
Yeah,
in
that's
original
right.
settings were very clearly D&D, like fantasy style esque, like Betrayal at Krondor. If you've ever heard of that or played it.
I've heard of it, yeah.
Okay, it's old, but real sword and sorcery style stuff.
Wizardry as well, that was very Tolkien-esque.
Yes. Yep.
This is a good segue for talking about how, and this was more of a phenomenon in the forums about like a year and a half ago or something, where people were, for whatever reason, talking about JRPGs a lot and how much they hated them. Let's get into the Western
course.
versus JRPG, like contemporary Western versus JRPG kind of landscape right now, because I think a lot of the discussion came up around the time Mass Effect 1 came out, and a lot of the Japanese devs were like, holy shit, you can choose what you say and different stuff happens. What the hell is this? So what are you guys' thoughts on that? I don't know how active you guys were back in the day, but I remember seeing threads all the fucking time about it.
I've been active since 2008. Yeah, so
2008 Master Race.
yeah.
Yo. But one thing's
I don't know, so-
actually...
Go ahead.
Thanks. One thing I kind of hate that Mass Effect did is it kind of like... It's so hard to say this is a Western RPG, because every fucking game is a Western RPG now. Every game has RPG elements, and it makes me sick. You know, like...
Madden does.
Well, the sports
Fucking
games always
Madden
kind
has
of had
RPG
it.
elements in it.
But stuff
Yeah.
like Dead Space, you know, like a horror kind of shooter game, why does that need RPG elements? Any of them. You know, you can maybe get new
Every
weapons.
action game has RPG elements now.
Yes.
And
like
there's half the time they're shallow as shit. I mean, like, look at Tomb Raider was okay, but like I love the Arkham games, but their RPG elements suck. It's like,
Yeah.
why are they there?
it makes no sense apart from like the whole Metroidvania stuff. It makes no sense why Batman wouldn't go in with his best armor or his best gadgets. Like, and how does he get new armor? By beating guys in the face. You know, I like the process of getting it, but punch you in the face, get more
Like-
health. What?
Yeah.
Like there was a certain like the Tomb Raider one, some of it was okay. Like the weapon upgrades were kind of cool, and the survivalist stuff made sense to a certain extent because it was like you're out in the wilderness and you're learning how to survive, whatever. It was a little overdone though.
Mm-hmm. And now,
Think problem with Tomb
crafting
Raider.
style stuff
Ugh.
is
Yeah.
becoming
Thing-
the new big thing.
Thing with Tomb Raider is that it was trying to be Far Cry 3, but it wasn't anywhere near. Because like Far Cry 3, I kind of understood the RPG elements in there for the story, but like it takes place over a longer time, and it's got more choice. Tomb Raider is like takes over place over a day, and it's got very little choice. So Lara's going to end up the same either way if you play half decent, and even if you try and
Yeah.
build a different kind of character, there's nothing there, you know.
Well, the reason why I liked the game was I just liked what they did with her character, and I liked using the bow. Those were my two big things. The bow was fun, and small spoiler for the like near the end of the game, not really a plot point, but the point in the game you were fighting all those samurai. Basically, you're fighting like a whole samurai army. I made a
Yeah.
point to say I would not use any technology that was above theirs. Like I wanted to fight them on the same level, so I used the bow exclusively for that fight. It was pretty fucking cool.
No melee attacks.
Well, I used the arrow, like stabbing arrow in the knee attack.
Oh yeah, you can do that. That. Oh, I've got another gripe about that, but that's a different topic for a different day.
Oh yeah, I know. A very obvious Skyrim reference. Thank you, Tomb Raider.
I wasn't even talking about that. I was talking about fucking Lara turning to a mass murderer, but let's stick to
Oh,
JRPGs
yeah.
today, shall we?
Yeah, that's a different discussion.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's kind of weird is with games like Mass Effect and stuff. This whole argument popped up where it was like, well, what constitutes a role-playing game? If it's linear and you're not making decisions, it can't be a role-playing game, right?
But you play a role in every game, so Call of Duty is a role play. Fuck you. I hate those people
That's where
so much.
that's where the argument just totally falls apart. It's like if I was actually playing this role, I wouldn't have died from that nuclear explosion because I'm a baller.
I think the thing with role-playing games is like, you can't say a role-play game is a role-playing game before you play it. It's like, you play it and you're like, this is a role-playing game, or you play it and it's like, this isn't a role-playing game, and that's how I make this distinction, you know? Like, I can play Dead Space even with the
Yeah.
role-playing elements, I'm like, this isn't a role-playing game. But I can play Skyrim even with the weak role-playing elements, I'm like, this is a role-playing game. Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Final Fantasy 13, and I've never played it. I probably never will. But it came out at one of the worst possible times it could. It was like right as Mass Effect was getting really popular, and like you played Mass Effect, and then you played Final Fantasy 13, and you're like, damn, this is a really long hallway. When am I gonna get
Yeah.
to take a turn somewhere?
Oh, Final Fantasy
But
13 had
even
more
was-
problems than that.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. What was the question? Contemporary differences between Western and Japanese RPGs?
I think that was
Yeah.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what? Going back, what were the differences way back then in the Baldur's Gates versus the, you know, Final Fantasies and the Chrono Triggers? I mean,
I would say the only real big difference that was somewhat consistent was simply just the style of the mechanics. Like, whereas in JRPGs you generally had a turn-based system back in the day, in Western RPGs a lot of the games were real-time, but also kind of pause and play in a sense.
yeah.
So you had like
Yep.
Baldur's Gate, and you had like the really early TES stuff, like Daggerfall and stuff. That was like, you'd pause to chug a potion, but for the most part you were spamming, attack in real time.
I think
Right.
another thing that separated
And-
them was it's like
Yeah.
JRPGs. They would tell you. I don't know what to do here. I don't do podcasts.
Just keep
It's like-
talking.
it's-
Just go. Just
Don't
go.
do-
I'll-
It's like the
quick.
Yahtzee being stuck in the elevator thing, I was saying earlier.
Yeah. Okay, so JRPGs would straight up tell you, you have no choice in the story, you're doing this. While the Western RPGs would say, like, you have a choice, oh no you don't, you're gonna fight this guy anyway. Baldur's Gate is really bad at that. Say we're gonna say AC-10, I'm gonna run away and hide.
Yes, okay, that's true. And I guess there's also Western RPGs tend to, even back in the day, have always kind of had a character creation. I feel they've been getting worse as time's gone on, to be honest.
Yeah.
Uncanny
And-
Valley.
Well, yeah. And I guess dialogue choices, even if, like you said, they're illusion of choice. I can't
Yeah,
really remember.
there's a lot of that in Mass Effect.
Yeah, I can't remember many JRPGs that really, at least to a Western level, had that amount of, selectable text. I know Chrono Trigger had some. I'm pretty sure when you got captured.
In the Persona series, you actually...
Yeah,
the protagonist
yeah.
never says anything unless you give player input. I mean, a lot of
Yeah.
times it's irrelevant anyway, but it does have, like, you do get to pick dialogue options consistently. Part of the
Yes.
problem with that, specifically to the Persona series, I've noticed, is it ends up with the main character, despite the fact that, for example, in Persona 4, you is a really outgoing, like, character that is really relatable and stuff. He ends up taking a back seat in a lot of really important conversations simply because, having him say something random every 5 seconds would just break the flow of the scene. So you have Yosuke and, like, Kanji and Chie going back and forth, and then you is just like, I've got it! I'm a genius! Or they ask you a question.
Then Naruto comes in and fills in that role for everybody, because look at Mrs. Smarty Pants here, la-di-da.
Yeah.
Speaking on voice, do you think since the introduction of actual voice audio, do you enjoy JRPGs more or less? Whereas like Chrono Trigger, it was all text, and now you get Tales of Symphonia or Final Fantasy where people talk. Do you like that, or do you kind of
Depends on
like
the
the old
actor.
text? Yeah, because
I think that's actually more of an issue with Western RPGs because...
If I may interject for a second. 3 words. Tidus laugh scene.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, no. We're not
Yeah.
talking about that fucking laugh scene. Oh my god.
It-
Ha ha ha. Anyway.
yeah, if you
That's pretty good.
if you ever just watch the first maybe 10 minutes of Tales of Symphonia 2, the moment that kid opens his mouth is the moment you just want to put the controller down.
Yep.
Oh
Yep.
dear.
So, what I would say is the if it has good voice acting, there's no problem with JRPGs. Generally speaking, they're pretty linear, and there isn't a lot of variety of dialogue, contingency dialogue you need to make at all. I mean, in Persona, for example, because there's a lot of dialogue in that, they also have a lot of just straight up text because budget reasons, I guess.
Yeah.
But in Western RPGs, especially like games like Elder Scrolls, where you have a lot of different things that can happen, and they need tons and tons and tons and tons of dialogue, having voices can be a detriment, because if you compare Morrowind to Skyrim, you can do so many different things in so many different ways in Morrowind compared to Skyrim simply because they had the luxury of basically just typing down what, if you're going to do this, here's a couple words. We don't need to record that because that costs a fuck ton of money and time.
Yeah, I think-
yeah, for sure.
Localization is very important because my favorite example is Tales of Symphonia 2. This little kid who's your hero. Oh, I hate his voice so much. Anyway, you finish off the tutorial dungeon. He's got this floating cat nearby, and the first thing out of his mouth is, "Did I just learn something?" And
Oh god.
Oh god.
to American audience, it's, who the hell is this idiot child? But if it were in Japanese, I think the way he would have said it would have made more sense in their culture versus how they translate it into English, and it just makes him look like this dumb kid that didn't understand the tutorial himself.
That kind of stuff happens a lot, actually. There are a lot of lost in translation aspects to games. I was actually talking to this with Haza before the cast, like
yeah, 999.
how they localize like accents and stuff can be really weird.
And I wasn't joking when the kid said, "Did I just learn something?" Like, he got the tutorial, and that's the word that came out of his mouth.
Well, that's how normal
Sounds like
people
something a
talk, of
Dynasty
course.
Warriors character would say. Dynasty
no, it's
Warriors
Lubu.
characters are never sure of themselves. Lubu.
I've never played Dynasty Warriors game.
Really? Oh, come
I
on.
played Devil Kings, which is basically Capcom
You're-
Dynasty
all
Warriors.
You know how some people are like, you're not a real gamer unless you play Call of Duty or whatever. I'd say you're not a real gamer unless you've killed Lubu before you're supposed to.
I killed the Iron Golem, no, Iron Ox, before I was supposed to. In Devil Kings, does that count?
No, it has to be
He
Lubu.
fucks shit up. He is
Or
a giant
it has to be
thing
the-
with drills.
Has to be Dalton's Golem in Chrono Trigger, because that's one of those funny examples of like illusion of choice, because it's like, well, you're supposed to lose this fight, but if for some reason you're able to beat it, Dalton just summons two and you lose anyway.
Can you maybe
Guys,
give
I'm
the
gonna
game
step
that
out
I've
for like
played?
30 seconds.
It's one of those game patches
Oh, no.
where someone beat it in the testing, and they're like, "Oh, just make him do it again."
That would
Yeah.
ruin the story if you win now. Fuck it.
Well, that game has a new game plus, so you know the second time you do it, you're going to beat that boss unless you're just like asleep at the wheel or something like that. But yeah. But yeah, we were talking about Western versus Eastern.
Oh yeah, there's a podcast going on. Huh.
Yeah, where are we? I'm so confused. It's actually storming like crazy outside, so hopefully I don't lose my internet.
That wouldn't be good.
Dark as shit. It's like 4 p.m. and it's dark as hell out there.
Just if you do, keep recording, we can pretend we're still connected. Fizz can sort out
Yeah,
in the
it'll-
editing.
It's a beautiful, warm 70 degrees out in Wyoming, so if you're out in the Rocky Mountains, stop listening to this and go outside, goddammit.
If you're in Georgia, make sure you're inside your house.
If you're in England, it's probably raining, so stay in.
Surprise.
Yeah, I've been coming up with all the topics, so somebody else should come up with the next one.
How about non-conventional JRPGs and Western RPGs?
Why don't you name a few, and we'll start with that.
Dark Souls, Valkyria Chronicles, Phantasy Star, Vagrant
Mm.
Story.
Okay.
All right, now I remember those exist.
So how about a segment where I just jerk off Dark Souls for like a while?
You know, I've still not played Dark Souls.
Play Dark Souls. I fucking love
It's good.
Dark Souls.
I'll play Dark Souls when you play Chrono Trigger. How about that?
Alright, I'll get an emulator right now, let's do this. Oh shit, no I didn't say mods, don't watch this. I didn't say anything.
I'm one of those guys that like I don't feel like I'm playing the game right unless I'm playing it like authentically. It's not even like a legitimate like I need to have a legitimate copy. It's more like I need to have the original game like in my hand kind of thing. Like I literally bought a PS2 to play Persona 4 and 3.
Well, my
Like,
SNES
you
is
know-
in Ireland, so...
Well, you need to drive to Ireland and get your SNES. I actually got a copy of Chrono Trigger like about 2 years ago they're usually pretty expensive, but I managed to get it for like $30.
That's
My
pretty
brother has
cheap.
a
I've
DS
seen them at like
version.
120.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Dude, if some of that really old, rare, like SNES RPGs, and even like full collections of like original versions of the PS1, like Final Fantasy games, if you have them still in the original casing, they go for a retarded amount of money. Like it is
Yeah,
dumb.
it's crazy.
I got PS1 Final Fantasy 6 in its casing.
I've still got my NES and games.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, I actually. Go ahead.
my friend loaned me his Super NES with Chrono Trigger, Secret of Mana, Star Fox, and there was another one. And I haven't really played much else recently.
It's fun.
Man, this storm is getting nutty. I hope my power doesn't go out. That would suck. But yeah. I still need to play Dark Souls because I've heard it's good.
Did you
And
play
somebody
Demon
told me
Souls?
No, I haven't played
Yes.
either of them.
Okay.
Played that afterwards. It's not nice going back to Demon Souls once you played Dark Souls.
Yeah.
What
Somebody told me this. I'm not quite sure. Did Atlas publish both those games?
I think they published Demon Souls. They didn't do it with Dark Souls. Namco Bandai did
Okay.
them.
Yeah.
I've heard good things about Valkyrie Chronicles. What system does that play on?
The first one is
PS3, right?
PS3. Yeah, the second and third one are PSP, but the third one is never coming to EU because the first two didn't get good enough sales.
Oh,
Oh,
Kinda
that
sucks.
Yep.
story. I hate. Since we're talking about JRPGs, I hate when like bits of a series come over. Like, hey, you get game, 1, 2,
Yeah.
3, 6, and 7. Like, what?
Early Final Fantasy stuff was like that. And then fucking
Yeah.
Fire Emblem. The reason why so many people haven't played Fire Emblem over here is because like the first whatever many games never made it over here. Like
Yeah,
my
I've never
first one
played
was
one.
Awakening. Yeah, it's just localization's a bitch, I guess.
Yeah, they're also really expensive, the ones that you can find. So I'm very lucky to have
Yeah.
Radiant Dawn just here. Of course,
Actually,
don't put me out ever.
I came up with a good topic. How about games that start off as RPGs and they kind of like branch out in a sense? Like, for example, Persona 4 Arena. It continues the story of 4 in a sense, but it's a completely different genre. And it's one that
Yeah.
I'd say a lot of RPG fans are completely alien to.
It was a shift.
Arena was a
I'll
fighting
admit.
game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fighter. Like, is that a good thing for them to do? Well, like, do you think that,
If,
I mean,
If
is
or do
it
you think
canon?
that-
It's
Yeah, it's
canon,
canon.
yeah.
well, as long as it's,
Personally, like... go ahead, whoever's saying stuff.
well, I was just gonna say, if it's a good game and people are willing to play it, I don't see a problem with them branching out like that.
Yeah, but personally, like, they could never make another Persona fighting game ever again and just stay to RPGs, and I would be very happy with that. You know, I'm not going to say it's a bad game, because it's not, but if it was a JRPG, I'd be like, yes, give me everything. Because it's a fighting game, I'm a bit ambivalent on it.
Well, I highly doubt that they're going to continue the story in another fighting game. It's probably going to be an RPG spin-off.
Yeah, I hope so.
I mean, I'm just saying, I'd like to see a game where you play as you and Aegis, and I think we've talked about this before. No, it would not be as bad as the answer. They will never do that again.
The answer. Keep it away.
I watched the cutscenes because I heard it was so bad.
30 hours of just fucking grinding. What the... Atlas.
Why? And then
It's not
we
good.
can also, I mean, it's kind of a similar concept as standard when a company is almost entirely RPG developers like BioWare, Bethesda, etc. When they branch out themselves into another genre and they kind of take a lot of RPG, like stuff that they've done in their RPGs and brought it into a new genre, like Catherine's a good example. I don't know how many of you guys have played Catherine, but when you play it,
Yet.
it is not an RPG, period, but there are a lot of aspects that carry over, like the social aspects of the Persona games, for example.
Yeah, I mean, that's really cool. I think the only sticking point I would have is if there's a main series that is a genre, any kind of genre, and then its story is continued in something completely different that I may or may not actually want to play. You can spin off all
Yeah.
you damn well want, but I don't care.
Yeah,
But,
I
yeah.
totally get that. I mean, you could even make that argument for Dead Space, honestly. A lot
Yeah,
of people would
yeah.
make that argument.
Just saying, Dead Space should have ended after the first one.
I haven't
Just
even
putting
played
that
it,
out
and I
there.
would agree simply because most survival horror stories should never have sequels anyway, I don't think.
They should have
It
kept
just
it
generally
vague
doesn't make
and
sense.
spooky.
I mean, I think the only exception to that I can think of is Alien, because Aliens was a really good movie. But all the other ones are bad after that.
We're going very off topic here.
Yeah, we are.
Do you think, going back to the world of RPGs, like the world of Chrono Trigger, the world of Secret Mana, or well, I guess Tales is done 1,000 times, but would you like them to continue storylines of your favorite JRPGs, or would you like them to start fresh in the same world, same setting, different people?
Oh, I see what you mean.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I think that totally and completely depends on the franchise you're trying to set up. Like, for example, keep going back to Persona because it works for all of these.
Yep.
Persona, Final Fantasy, are those games where, each game is a different cast of characters, completely different story. I think for Persona 5, which obviously is in the works right now, I would want that to be the same way. I would want it to be a new cast, new themes, new everything. And if they want to continue the story of Persona 3 or 4 or whatever, do it in a spin-off.
I can't really argue with that. Yeah, like there's some aspect of, like Final Fantasy is kind of weird because apart from 10-2 and 13-2, it's all really separated. Then you get the games like Dissidia, which put it together. But stuff like Persona, I think there is lots of like potential there to just mix these different casts of characters together. But I don't know how to do it, making it comprehensive and giving you a main character and keeping like the social links aspect maintained.
Yeah.
Because it is gonna be complicated.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. I mean, I get. I wouldn't really like, though I did like Mass Effect. I find it's a huge time investment to get the whole story if I have to play through these characters through like 3 games, because RPGs are so damn long as they are. I kind of like them to be one isolated, contained story of in itself, because I rarely have the time to even finish most of them.
Yeah, the Mass Effect franchise was a very, very unique experience in the sense that
It was.
you had this story that, I mean, each of the individual games actually weren't that long in of themselves, but because a lot of people played the games over and over again, and because it took so long to get from the beginning of 1 to 3 in real time, like 2007 to 2012, a lot of people grew attached to the characters. So, like, by the time you got to the 3rd game, and as much bad stuff I can say about the 3rd game, there's a lot of bad things I can say about it, there were a lot of cathartic character stuff that I don't think you'd get the same level of in one game. Or it's very hard to do.
Yeah.
It was just... It didn't work out quite as well as they'd hoped, or really nearly as well as they'd hoped, but it was still worth it, I think.
I think that I'm dealing with this whole new or like continued character thing. It all depends a lot on whether they're planning to have like a trilogy, because Mass Effect was always planned to be a trilogy, but sticking with JRPGs, if we go Tales of Graces, that game, like, it has an end point, and if they made Tales of Graces 2, it'd be like there's no need, because it's unnecessary. But Persona 3 to 4 is set in the same world, because Persona 3 had unanswered questions that can be adapted to be answered with this new cast, with the whole Margaret and the main character Persona 3 sort of stuff. So it really depends on how the initial game ends, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, because like with Tales of Symphonia, your power source gets destroyed, and basically that's a creation of magic. There's a good starting off point now where a new, like, magic is now entered into the world. You can now keep the same world and just fast forward maybe 10 years and have different characters, instead of maybe just making the next Tales of set in different worlds.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, because Final Fantasy, most of its games are usually set in a completely unique setting. And then you look at games like Persona, where it's, like Haza said, 3 and 4 are obviously in the same world. I mean, you even see cameos of characters from 3 and 4.
Can we just put unique in quotation marks there?
Yeah. And like in Fire Emblem, that is as far as I understand, it is the same world over the course of like hundreds, if not thousands of years or something like that. I know one of the characters you get in your party is like a character you get in your party in like the original game or something like that. Like, she knows Marth, and I guess Marth is some legendary hero.
Yeah, Marth was in one of the early games from what I understand, and Ike is in Radiant Dawn. I think Ike and Marth met in one game, but I'm not entirely sure. Don't quote me on that.
Well, Fire Emblem has all this weird-ass, like, outer world time travel shit where, like, random characters from past games will, like, show up in, like, DLC and stuff like that. I don't know how canon it is, but, whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like the Elder Scrolls, where everything and anything is canon.
Well, see, the thing about Elder Scrolls is, like, that's a fundamental building block of the lore, is that, like, everything is canon, but I don't think that's the same case for most everything else. Elder Scrolls is, like, it plays by its own rules. That's why I love it so much. And
I
why
don't
so
think
many
it
people hate
understands
the
its own
lore.
rules.
Yeah. I don't think anybody understands its own rules. The guy who wrote, what was it called? The Canton, or the 26 books of Vivek, or whatever it was called, or 26 lessons of Vivek or whatever, that guy must have been completely insane. or a genius, or both. Because, like, within those books in Morrowind, like, it kind of, like, metaphorically explains that the player is, like, in the lore, and that the player is, like, a god or some crazy shit like that.
Do you mean you, the player, like behind the controller, or the
Well, yes,
character you're controlling?
yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh god, my brain. It just.
Yeah.
I'm the
Dude,
The
god.
Elder Scrolls is too
Fucking
much.
crazy shit.
That's not good because
It
I'm
is
the god
crazy.
of jumping on houses.
Yeah, like I think the first, when they originally, and this is kind of off topic, so I'll end it soon. When they originally established the Elder Scrolls lore, I don't think they thought they were gonna go in these crazy directions with it, because like nothing really totally out there happens until the end of Daggerfall, where there's like 7 different endings, and they were like, when they were making Morrowind, they're like, well, what do we do? There's 7 different endings, and then some asshole was just like, they all are canon. What?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
they're all canon.
Oh god.
And then we got the Warp of the West, and nobody understands what the fuck it's talking about.
I've never heard of that before. It scares me.
I haven't either.
Oh yeah. Dude, I hope they do that with Mass Effect 4. They're like, yes, everybody turned into robot people and then exploded, but then Shepard became God.
And then Shepard was the Reapers.
Sounds like a better ending to me.
Yeah.
See,
So
That'd actually be really fun.
Actually, that brings up a great segue. JRPG endings, because anime
Ooh.
endings generally suck 80% of the time. And contemporary JRPGs take a lot of, notes from anime. But in my experience, JRPGs generally have really good endings.
I won't even lie. I rarely see the endings because I jump games so much.
Oh, really?
I don't like it.
it takes a special kind of JRPG to get me to the end, I'll admit. Either it's the
Yeah.
grinding
Yeah.
or the characters, but something just ends up stopping me with most of them.
Yeah, I'd say one of my favorites is probably got to be Chrono Trigger, simply because it has so many different endings. It's one of the first games I can think of that actually had multiple endings. Usually JRPGs don't have multiple endings, now that I think about it.
Yeah, usually they're the one ending.
And going back to Persona with the multiple endings things, I think that all the endings are really good, but accessing the endings was one of the things that Persona 4 actually did really badly, which it doesn't normally do. Because, like, I'm not going to spoil anything, but near the end of the game, you get a series of dialogue choices.
Yeah, I
Like, the
thought that
first
was
choice-
genius, personally.
It was, but the way they implemented it wasn't great. Like, one of the choices in the first thing, you had the choice and you got the bad ending. And then, like, there were 6 more choices or so. You had to pick the exact right one to get the path to the good ending, or else you'd get the neutral ending. And choosing the right choices to get the good ending made sense thematically, but it was very vague as to what it was supposed to do, because, like, the theme is to reach out to the truth, but it's vague as to what is reaching out to the truth. Then the last choice is shouting at your friends. It's like, well, that's not being friendly, and it's kind of a cluster F, and I wasn't
yeah.
quite a fan.
I thought you were talking about the true ending part, but yeah,
No, that was very clever.
in the not get the bad ending scene, it was, I think the thing they were overall hoping that you would understand, and that's why you would get the good ending on the first try, like I got the good ending on the first try, was that you were supposed to be, like, you were supposed to know, like the character you, not you knows that
Okay.
there's something really important missing, and you need to basically like try and figure it out, and like you need to pick the dialogue options that say no, there's something missing, no, there's something missing, no, there's something missing, and just keep reiterating it essentially.
But minor spoilers. The choices are to say, no, there's something missing, or, what are you doing? Don't kill this guy. And really,
Yeah.
I think priority-wise, I'm going to try and convince my friends not to commit, like, first-level murder. You know? So, and that was kind of sketchy. I think another dialogue choice, that was kind of a choice between the two that also gave on the path to a good ending, would have really improved that.
Yeah, the decision in Persona 3 is 100 times easier because it's literally like, yeah,
Good
minor
ending, bad
spoilers,
ending,
by
what
the
do you
way.
want?
It's oh, I'm your best friend person who's been with you like your whole life. Kill me. No. Good ending. All right. Anyway.
Good ending is debatable there, because that ending is sad.
Yeah, Persona 3 is a lot more sad than 4 is.
The happiest game about murder ever.
It is a pretty. I mean, it's Scooby Doo, but with Japanese children and without a dog.
And demons.
They have a bear instead.
Kanji can be the dog.
Oh,
Oh,
God.
that sounds really offensive now because he's gay. Oh, I didn't think about that. Oh dear. Yosuke, wear this costume quickly.
Oh Jesus, no, we're not going to get into that.
That sounds really bad as well, doesn't it? Yeah. Oh.
It does.
Hmm.
I was making Hanako impressions in the car the other day. I'm not going to repeat them here. But yeah, what were we talking about?
Endings.
Endings.
That's right. All right.
I mean, yeah, Final Fantasy, I've heard of the endings, and they all seem just so, like they're trying to make it this huge,
Well, they're
epic
Final
battle,
Fantasy.
and they seem so convoluted and almost just downright comical.
One thing
Yeah,
that was
Final
nice about Final
Fantasy's-
Fantasy endings. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Final Fantasy VII ending always kind of reminded me of just some, like, cop-out shitty sci-fi ending and, like, a, like some kind of post-apocalyptic story where it's like, they saved the day, I guess, and this is how they did it, but you won't have any clue what happened to the characters.
That
You're
yeah,
like,
that's
"Thanks."
a theme. Like a bunch of you always get teleported like this magical, floaty dimension
Bullshit.
thing, and then you
Yeah.
kind of die, but then you're not dead, or you come back and you don't really know what happened. And it's
Yeah,
supposed
they
to be
do
this-
that a lot in JRPGs,
Yeah,
actually. There's
I've
always some
seen
kind of,
that,
like,
and then-
metaphysical moment where, like, I lost, but no, the power of my friends has taken my soul out of hell, and I will now shoot
Persona
like
3
a
and
spirit
4.
gun with my finger, and yeah. Well, see, the thing about 3 made a lot more sense than what happened in 4, I think.
Yeah. 4 made
And
some sense.
Because in 3 you were actually, like, in a sort of physical... Like, you had to be there to actually beat the boss, like, lore-wise, like, where you were. Kind of made sense.
Yeah.
And, like, they had that really nice touch with what Shinji said, right before you beat it, and that was really cool. But in 4
was
it was
cool.
more like... 4 was like, oh shit, what's going on in the boss battle? Oh shit, did I just lose? What the fuck? Oh, okay.
yeah.
I think it also.
Going back to Final Fantasy. Oh,
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say real quick. I try to always save up, quit a game before a final boss fight because I always like to try to be in a good mood. Because if it's a really not difficult boss fight, but
Shitty
just a
ending?
stupid boss fight, like one hit kill
Yeah.
your party boss fight, the ending is gonna be bad regardless because I'm gonna be pissed off at that point. Final Fantasy 13, you suck a lot.
But Final Fantasy, one thing I've got to give it good points for, like the ones that I've played to the end, which is like I've seen 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 endings. The one good thing about the endings for those games is that they are very final. There's not much to do after the
Yeah,
endings
yeah.
generally, and I like that because it's not like,
That
hey,
makes sense.
plot hanger.
Oh, yeah. I know what you mean. Actually, what you were saying earlier about, like, shitty final boss battles, Haza, be prepared for, in Chrono Trigger, the final form or the final boss has a really, really, really stupid aspect to it that I don't know if I should warn you about or not. You know what I'm
part of the
talking about,
experience,
AC?
man.
Let him deal with it once, and then he can just go on a guide.
We'll make
Yeah.
another podcast about it. I'll
Basically,
just shout
the
at the
boss
microphone for a bit.
the boss just trolls the shit out of you. He's like,
He's joy.
you're like, I thought I killed the boss. What the fuck's going on? And the boss just laughs at you.
I think the next
Until
Trying to
figure
get
it
me to play this game, you're not doing a great job.
the next cast should just be Haza on the last few parts of that boss battle. We're all on together, and we just listen to his reaction.
Yeah. It's actually one of the awesome things about Chrono Trigger is, like, it really is one of the first RPGs I can think of that it gave you a lot of freedom with how you wanted to do it. Like, to unlock the different endings, you actually had to go about, like, beating the final boss in different ways and, like, different time periods and stuff like that. And you could even, like, you can decide when in time to fight the boss or, like, do certain things, and, like, the way time functioned in the game is really cool. And one of the things that's really funny about the final boss, it's a really minor spoiler, is, like, his first form is, like, his outer shell, and it's a really, really easy boss battle. Like, it's not a challenge at all if you're leveled for it. But you can actually bypass it entirely if you just think to be like, instead of just teleporting to the boss, I could fly my giant time machine spaceship into his face and blow him up instantly.
Wow.
So that was always fun. I
More
always
games
just
need an
skipped his
option
first
like that.
form. I can't think of any.
That would have improved Mass Effect 3's ending quite a bit. Just take a baseball bat and punch that kid in the head.
Well, he'd just get mad at you because you can shoot him in the face now.
Yeah, they patched that in.
That was pretty funny.
It's basically saying, you don't like our ending, well fuck you, you lose. We're BioWare.
Blammo. Yeah, that was a pretty funny touch that they added there. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't actually get mad at that.
Very off topic, but I think it was very funny initially with the release. Like, that end sequence, they hadn't put any sort of collision on the bit behind you, so you could just walk off. Just fall into infinite space.
Oh,
It's like,
really?
wow.
Ow.
Yep.
I never tried that.
There's a video of
Right.
it somewhere, but Shepard just like turns around and just walks off after he sees the reaction to the ending. It's like, nope, I'm out of here.
The first time I played
That's
that, I did
awesome.
not know what was going on at all. I couldn't follow the story because it was just so random that all of a sudden, I get my character back, I'm looking straight, and I'm going, oh, I guess I have to walk down this little corridor. I didn't realize there was a left and right option.
You know, the thing is, like, what's weird about the Mass Effect 3 ending is it did a lot of things that JRPG endings actually do, but it didn't fit the
Yeah.
game at all.
Yeah. Actually, that's a really good point. I hadn't thought about it like that before.
Like, it's got the whole metaphysical kind of weird things going on where, like, the problem that it had was not only did it not fit the game or the genre or the theme story, it
Or anything.
changed the theme of the story at the end of the game. Whereas if you're going to do something like that, the primary purpose of doing some weird ass metaphysical shit is to hammer the final nail to make sure your audience understands what the theme of the story is. Generally speaking, that's what it is. And like Mass Effect is like, it's about this now, and you're like, okay.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the kid comes in, he exposition dumps you, and then there you go. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, pretty much.
GG.
GG. See that I miss back in the day where JRPGs had very simple endings with no metaphysical stuff, like Mario RPG. You just like beat the last boss and then, hooray, you win. I mean, there's
I gotta
more
admit,
to it
like,
than that, but
The metaphysical stuff really gives a good sense of like an epic final battle, like Persona 3, the final thing.
Yeah.
That is one of the best boss fights ever. You can argue otherwise, but you're fucking wrong. Okay, because it just has this really good feel that it is the end of the world.
just love
and
how
you
hopeless it
have
is.
to do this. Yeah, very hopeless, and it just pulled off really well. And it's surprising to see that in any game, really.
well, it's interesting because 3 was so hopeless, and then in 4 was almost like when you get to the last boss, you're supposed to know, like, I'm a straight up ball and G motherfucker, and you are wrong, and I'm going to beat you. Whereas in 3, there's far more doubt associated with the main the main cast. You know what I mean? Like 4 is kind of like, we've come all this way, like you're not going to stop us, and I'm going to, undress your crazy gimp suit. Or well, it was like a straight jacket. It looked like something out of a Slipknot album or something.
It was weird. I think one thing that 3 did very good and that 4 didn't really do is it implemented
What
that
was
sense
that?
of hopelessness in the gameplay, if you get me.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
to
I mean,
elaborate.
I
no?
think that was. Oh, what?
I don't know. The lag is really making it hard to talk. I don't understand what I'm responding to.
Yeah, you were lagging. But basically, like 3 really had this better sense of hopelessness. I think a lot of it had to do with the theme of the story was essentially self-destruction, right? So it had a lot more darker tones than 4 in the first place.
But going to kind of like spoilers, not for the story per se, just for how the final boss battle rolls out, I suppose. Like 3, you're the final bit, you're against Big Boss, and like it does an attack on you, and it does 999 damage, and like that is a kill shot against anything in that game. But your character gets back
Yeah.
up. Where in 4, like it starts absorbing your friends, but there's no sort of standard gameplay twist on it apart from the saving you from being absorbed thing. So I think 3 did a lot better by the fact that like you get hit, you get up, you get hit, you get up, you get hit, it misses, you get hit, it blocks, you do the fire attack, you kill it.
That was pretty cool. That was pretty
Yeah.
cool. I remember that. Yeah, well, actually, 4 was dramatic for me simply because I had romanced Chie, and she was directly next
Same.
to me. So
You taking my wife?
like, I know, I'm sorry, bro.
Bitch, I will
Sorry.
slap you.
But like, she jumped in the way. She was the last person to jump in the way, and I was like, no!
It kind of ruins it when you got Kanji in the team, because he just fucking drop kicks you out of the way.
Does he?
Yeah, that's how he saves your life.
See, I'm a metagaming asshole, and I always use Chie, Teddy, and Yosuke, and I just like buff cycle Yosuke, Teddy, and have Chie power charge and God's Hand over and over again, 'cause damage. But anyway, we don't want to get into wifey territory here. I don't want to step all
Or
over
do
your grill.
we?
Right.
Separate
moving on
podcast,
here.
let's do this.
There's something similar
Oh,
kind of
God.
happens in Fire Emblem Awakening. Actually, I always kind of think of these as like D&D moments, actually, because for whatever reason, in a lot of the Dungeons and Dragons campaigns I've played, the ending, it always just gets completely over the top by the end, where you're like fighting some completely insane situation that would normally be impossible, but because you're at the end of the story and you've done so much, like a god or somebody helps you, and then like, you know, you might get hit for like a gajillion damage, but all of it gets healed back, or like, you know, like in Fire Emblem, basically the final boss right at the beginning of the fight before you can even do anything hits everybody down to 1 hit point, and then basically like this godlike character heals everybody. So that kind of stuff happens. To me, it seems like it happens a lot.
Yeah, when you say it like that, all I can
And,
think about is the baby in Super Metroid.
Oh god.
And we're back.
Are we going back to Alpha M here?
No.
It's called the baby's cry, because it was meant to draw attention. Ugh, Samus.
Oh god. Other M actually had decent gameplay. I'll give it that.
It did.
Never played it. I
I
just watched
didn't
two
play it
people
either.
riff over the
I played-
cutscenes.
I like the Prime series a lot, and I thought, you know, other M's getting slammed to shit, I'll probably just ignore it.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. Yeah, we're coming on in about an hour and a half pretty soon. Are there any other topics you guys can think of that we should touch on before we end it?
Something I'm curious to see opinions on. The whole, like, Western RPGs where everything is an RPG. What makes a JRPG to you lot? I'm curious.
Oh, that's a good question.
So
We probably should have
that is
started
a good
with
question. Yeah.
that. I would say JRPG. I don't even know if it necessarily has to be designed by Japanese developers. I think that it is just I don't even think it needs to be really turn-based necessarily. It's hard to say. It's just got to have certain, I guess, a certain feel to it, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. I'd agree with you on that one. Because, I don't know, obviously the boneheaded definition would be an RPG developed in Japan, the end.
Oi,
But then
it's
look
my
at
definition.
the Souls and the Demon Souls series. Well, the Souls series, it's clearly really Western influenced and really doesn't play at
Yeah.
all like
I wouldn't
a
call them
JRPG
JRPGs.
traditionally did. Yeah.
See, that's my exact definition, just if it's got a whole, like, this is an RPG thing I was talking about before, and it was made in Japan, to me that's JRPG, so Demon Souls and Dark Souls, they're straight up JRPGs, where, like, Cthulhu Saves the Earth, it's like a Western old school RPG to me. I guess I'm just weird like that.
Well, and don't
I never played it, but wasn't Cthulhu Saves the Earth like really similar to like Final Fantasy 4 or 5?
Yeah, I got
Dragon
huge on
Quest
Final
style.
Fantasy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I see the distinction getting a little more muddied as, like, everyone on this panel has played most of these classic ones on the NES, Super NES, and we've eventually
Yeah.
grown up to be game developers, coders, programmers, all that. So I can see it getting a little muddy in that, well, I love these old games. I'm going to try to incorporate that into my game now. And so I can see
Yeah, I
that
can
as
see
being a
that.
bit of a... It's not going to be as easy to define it clearly down the middle like maybe some years ago.
Yeah, I can see that.
suppose.
I mean, like Dragon's Dogma is also a good example of like, it's
Yeah.
a very. I mean, I actually am not a big fan of the game. I think if they made a new sequel to it that improved a lot of the things I had a problem with, I probably would like it a lot more. But there were just too many things that bothered me to really get into it. But what was interesting about the game was that it was kind of like a marriage between like a Monster Hunter game and an Elder Scrolls game in a sense. It was really bizarre in that sense. It was like both it had very heavy influence from JRPGs and from Western RPGs.
I think the thing about Dragon's Dogma is that a lot of the JRPG influence wasn't done in the like combat or the story necessarily. It was done in the side quests, because they are JRPG as
Yeah.
fuck. Like, there's this one side quest where you gotta basically be a carer for this little girl for like a little bit, and to get this great item from her that you can only get like from her in the game, you need to do 3 tasks as fast as you can in a certain way. One of them is she challenges you to a race. You have to let her win, but you can't just like let her win by standing there. You need to race her, but be bad so she wins, so that she'll be happy and give you the best item. It's a mindfuck.
Yeah, that that game, I don't know.
But like,
I don't know.
taking that to Mass Effect, like, it would give you a choice. It'd be like Paragon, let her win, Renegade, like, beat her. You know, so
Yeah,
Western
that's
RPGs
true.
don't normally do that sort of obscure, I've got to see a wiki for this sort of stuff thing.
Yeah.
That's definitely true. I think a lot of the decision-based stuff really started cropping up in BioWare's games. Because it really wasn't that prominent in any other Western RPG before, you know, we got KOTOR 1 and, you know, Jade Empire and stuff. And, you know, everybody can make fun of the KOTOR 1's implementation of it because it was basically like Boy Scout or psychopathic serial killer rapist guy.
It's true. I've got a big issue with BioWare that they've like openly said, we don't make it change when you make different choices, because data shows people only play through the game once. It's like, then why even give us that illusion? You know, it bothers me.
Yeah. What's actually interesting is Walking Dead. Apparently, I've only played through it once, but apparently it doesn't actually change that much if you make other decisions. I mean, like, it'll
From
be
what
like a
I've
different
heard-
characters there, but
Yeah, from what I've heard, like, the main story won't change, but the responses, which is really what it's about, will change. Like, characters will like or dislike you, and that's the main sort of thing.
Yeah,
And Mass
that's
Effect
true.
was lacking a lot of that, really. And I think if they just did something like that, it'd be enough for me to apologise to them for shitting on their game.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
that's true. That is very true.
What do you guys think? This is completely off topic. What do you guys think of like monster collection games, Pokemon, Ni no Kuni, Monster Hunter,
I
stuff like that?
fucking love them. It's unhealthy.
I'm kind of weird about that. It really depends on. I like because, you know, Shinigami Tensei games are the same thing. They're just rated M. But
Yeah, right.
so, basically, like, I will like it if the combat mechanics are actually fun. So,
Yeah.
Pokemon, I like it for nostalgic reasons, but I actually really don't like the combat in Pokemon. I think it is really it's just basically a rock, paper, scissors game of griefing, essentially.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh, he's sent out a water guy. I have a fire guy and an electric guy left. I'm going to switch to my electric guy. Oh, he switched to, you know, it's back and forth.
Well, you could just be a
Right,
man
yeah,
and
yeah.
just use, like, normal type for everything.
Actually, the last time I played, I beat Fire Red really recently on a device that I will not disclose. And so, and
Scumbag.
and they like redid a lot of the stuff in Fire Red that I wasn't used to. And the Elite Four is harder and I hadn't grinded like at all for like a long time by the time I got to the Elite Four, and everything was easy up to them, and I was like, Jesus, they're hard. I ended up beating over half of their Pokemon with an underleveled Clefable that had Hyper Beam and Psychic and Rest. It was very, very, very painful.
No,
I-
I guess sort of a. Oh,
You go ahead. You go ahead.
yeah, I was
You're
just
more
gonna say,
interested.
like into this, why do we not see monster collection games from Western developers? I really can't think of any.
That's true. I can't think of any either.
I think probably it's something like they're trying to make a sense of the player character is the coolest, and nothing is cooler than the player character. And like JRPGs are a bit more willing to say like your friends and companions are cool as well, so have some cool pets.
Yeah.
I don't know. Think about the lyrics of Pokemon's first like anime season.
Don't mention the
I want
anime,
to be the very
please.
best, the best there ever was.
Never mention the anime. It's trash. Please get away from me.
It is pretty terrible.
But I
yeah.
think the whole.
But I mean,
yeah.
like, I don't know. They can still treat you like a super baller if you in a monster game like Pokemon. You become like the supreme champion of dogfighting, and everybody loves you.
Oh, so are you the Charizard shooting fire out? Are you the Blastoise using your giant cannons? Are you Arceus, the god of all Pokemon?
No, but you grinded them to get to that point.
I used a Master Ball, I'll have you know.
And you caught Mewtwo with a Master Ball. I guess that's kind of cheating, but whatever. Trying to catch Mewtwo without a Master Ball is like trying to fucking pick needles out of a pile of shit with boxing gloves on.
In the original game, the guy at the cave and the Mewtwo thing, the sprites mixed the cave entrance and his hair, so he's got a giant afro. It's funny.
What?
Like, the old games, they had such little colour palette thing, that like his hair was the same colour as the cave entrance, and he was standing in front of
That's
it.
weird as shit.
So like it just fused into one giant hair bit, and it was funny.
Oh.
Actually, that reminds me of one last thing I want to bring up is interesting about a lot of old JRPGs, especially how many like Western RPGs don't have this nearly as much in my experience, with the exception of like open world games like Elder Scrolls. There's a lot of hidden Easter eggs and weird shit in JRPGs, to the point where like there's so many of them that a lot of them aren't actually real, and they've like been cultivated by lies by children for years and years and years. Like, anybody else remember the rumor about the Mew who slept under the truck on the patch of land by the SSN?
Yeah.
I fucking surfed over there and strengthed that truck so many goddamn times. Never
I
worked.
remember rumours about Peekaboo when some released Art of a Marrow
Yeah.
was released.
Oh
That was
god,
fun.
I remember that. That was dumb. That pissed me off. I thought it was real. Oh man, but it was so weird too, because like there's no other truck in the entire game. Why put a truck in a spot in a game where you can't normally even see it? Like, why did that sprite exist and why was it there?
I think it's probably just developers trolling, like the Pendant and Dark Souls. Does anyone know about that?
Oh god, yeah, I
No.
know, yeah.
So to elaborate on those who don't, in the beginning of Dark Souls you can choose a starting gift, which is like just an item to give you an advantage, like some extra humanity or a key. One of them is a pendant, and it says it's just got some good memories connected. And the developer, before release, said that for story purposes, he would recommend players go with a certain ring or the pendant. So people were like, what's this pendant do? So, for like months, people have spent using the pendant, giving it to certain NPCs, like having it in inventory and attacking walls, seeing the secret walls or something. Like, they spent so many hours trying to figure out what this pendant does. Recently, the main developer says, it does nothing. I just felt like putting it in there. And people went fucking
That's
ballistic.
awesome.
Well, I think
That is so awesome.
with the truck in your case, Fappy, I don't think that was likely trolling as much as because it is the way the world has to be designed. I think they were building areas that they might have intended to use but never got around to using for the actual
Yeah.
game itself.
Because yeah, normally you're not supposed to be able to get over there anyway. And my friend had a Game Shark, and we experimented a lot with this game. There are like, I'd say 90% of the areas you're not supposed to access in Pokemon will just hard crash the game.
Yeah,
It's
Ouch.
cut content, isn't it?
And there's that weird ass bug where like, if you go into places you're not supposed to, like the old man on Cinnabar Island will randomly spawn on top of the gym, and then you can't talk to him anymore. He's like stuck up there.
Help me!
That's fucking weird shit.
I miss the Game Shark style stuff. That was
Oh man. Yeah, that
cart
stuff
swapping.
was fun.
Yeah.
Game Shark and Game Genie and stuff, and like I do miss, like, these days on the PC versions of games you can mod stuff, but it's not quite the same thing as like just really fucked up shit the developers came up with for whatever reason. Like, I don't even really quite understand how Game Shark and all that stuff worked. Was it like, were there just things that were left in the game during development that you can only access with Game Shark, or what? I never really understood it.
Probably.
a lot of the practical stuff. The Game Shark or Game Genie would basically have in it a list of, in this game, I know that life is stored in this register, right? Like memory register.
Yeah.
Sorry, not to get all programmy. And it would say, okay, I will just change that integer or that byte to something higher and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
But then there's the weird stuff that I'm really not sure.
Yeah, there's some really fun. Like, one of the weirdest shit was, and this isn't even Game Shark or Game Genie related. I mean, I spent hours and hours playing with debug mode in Sonic games.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like, that shit was really fucked up. Like, that shit made no sense. I was like, hey, you want to see me beat this level in 2 seconds? Spawn a canister, jump on it. Act 1 complete. And how you could like activate debug mode in the middle of the final cutscene and like fuck the game up royally.
There's a reason they call it debug.
Yeah, I mean,
mode.
it's really just injecting stuff into the game while it's going. Yeah, I don't know. It's hacky and it's weird, and you just can't do it anymore because everything's a disc.
Yeah, I mean, I really wish you could do that. But then again, I guess it would be kind of detrimental if you're playing like a 360 game that's highly contained and controlled, and like you fuck with something horrible in the game and it just totally fucks everything up. Like I can imagine it being way worse for modern games.
Yeah, probably.
Well, there's a video somewhere on YouTube of like someone screwing with the 360 version of Oblivion to like enchant all of his armor and weapons to do acrobatics. And, like he jumps so high, he can like like the world stops loading, so he can see into nothingness below the world. Because he just jumps that fucking high. So I
Actually,
think
the
developers
first-
want to stop that.
The first time I played Morrowind, I played it on my friend's Xbox, and we actually broke his Xbox with Morrowind. We literally broke his Xbox by exploiting the shit out of acrobatics and all sorts of shit. Like, he made this spell where he like summoned like every creature in the game simultaneously, and it would just hard crash his game every time he
Wow.
cast it.
Yeah, that's why Morrowind was so fun. I remember there was actually like a mage who, if you're walking around really early in the game, will just fall from the sky, and on his
Yep.
body
Oh, the scroll.
there's a story. Yeah, and
Scrolls of
about how
Arcarian's
he's trying
Flight.
to scroll out. Yeah, and you can just jump like 6 loading screens into the air and just kill yourself. It's great.
They actually referenced that in Dragonborn, the Dragonborn DLC, and it was fucking
that's
hilarious.
amazing.
I haven't played that.
It's worth it just for that reference, honestly.
Okay, maybe I'll go get it.
But yeah, we're coming on about an hour and 30, 40 minutes. So anything else
Yeah.
anybody wants to bring up before we?
Oh, Dusty says an hour 50.
We started a
started
little
early.
early.
We did
Recording a
start
lot
right
longer.
away.
Alright.
But yeah, if nobody else wants to, bring anything else up, I thought it was a pretty good JRPG discussion. We hit all the major bases, didn't we? I think.
Tizzy is still a jerk.
Yeah. Screw that guy. He got a what was it? A community spotlight, right? I think we should take that back.
Yeah, give me one instead.
Let's revoke
Oh,
his
did he?
badge. Yeah, he got it like it was like 2 or 3 people ago. I think was Eclipse the latest person who got it. I think
Clips Dragon, yeah.
maybe. Well, you guys should all vote for me. I'm just saying that. Anyways, so cough, cough, cough. Anyway, well, I thought it was a good episode. Any closing statements you guys wanna give? We'll start with you, Haza.
I don't know, I don't do podcasts. Don't ask me this shit.
All right, AC. What do you want?
I don't know. Yeah, I had a lot of fun. It's a good time. I've never done a podcast before, so yeah, thanks for having me.
We'd love to have you again.
Yeah,
We
sure.
need more people from this side of the pond with deep, sexy voices on this podcast. So
Is that a snide remark, so?
Yes, it
I
is.
don't know.
I will challenge all of you to duels.
How about you, Jesse?
JRPGs are fun, and Final Fantasy 13 can burn hell.
Hooray! Okay, yeah, we'll end it with suggesting one good JRPG.
Ooh.
Can we all not say Chrono Trigger?
Oh, I was gonna say Chrono Trigger.
Well, I think it's implied that everybody should play Chrono Trigger anyway.
Okay.
I will say Mario RPG because not enough people have played it.
To avoid going Persona again, I say Phantasy Star Portable 2 because it's good fun.
Okay.
How about you, AC?
I'll say Final Fantasy VI.
Oh shit! I still haven't played it actually. I need to.
Yeah, I quite liked it.
How about you, Jesse?
If you have a classic system, Secret of Mana, but otherwise I would maybe suggest Tales of Symphonia for the Xbox.
Doing GameCube?
Which console was?
Oh no, sorry.
to,
Sorry, Vesperia for the Xbox, Symphonia for the GameCube. Sorry.
And Secrets of Mana, was that originally on Genesis or SNES? I don't remember.
Pretty sure SNES.
I have both, so it's all right. But it's probably
La-di-da.
gonna be pretty hard to find a cartridge. I'd imagine anyway. Old JRPGs from the 16-bit gen are kind of hard to find.
Yeah, people hold on to them.
Yep. All right. Well, it was a pretty good podcast. I guess we'll close it out with Fizz's Humpty Dumpty, crazy ass music.
Humpty Dumpty.